Played in old-time weather, and the old-time weather is going to be winning this weekend. You are indeed listening to Game on Hockey on the mighty 790 KFGO and 104.7 FM. The Voice, well, the Voice, this is Travis Dunn. A little bit different octave today, but different octave than I had last Thursday. I had no octave at the end of the game, UND hockey game last Saturday as the Voice went away, but this bug is 8 days old and is fighting like heck to stay on, but hopefully we're going to kick it out the door one of these days. But powering forward, because, hey, we all play hurt at one point or another season. With that, I open the gate, enter in Mr. Scott Taylor. How you doing, Scott?
Well, I'm still playing hurt. I'm now 3 weeks and I'm not sick. I don't feel bad. The doctor says I'm fine, but I've got this cough that won't go away. And it was interesting today. My daughter texted and said that she's still having the symptoms of this whatever virus it is, and then her boss is now 7 weeks with the cough.
Thank you. I makes me feel that much worse.
It's just a dry cough. It's annoying. It's annoying to the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
And I am basically living now on Hall's cough drops.
Well, I tell you what, it's the most wonderful time of the year, gathering together. We hope we all wash our hands and maybe social distance within that gathering. But, it's a fact of life. Come December, the bugs are going to win once in a while, and hopefully we'll power our way through this. But like I said, this has been 8 days for me, Scott, and 8 days too long. I think I'm down 5 pounds, which is okay going into the holiday season.
That works.
Because I will put it back on. With producer Eric, I'm Travis Dunn. That's Scott Taylor. First of all, I always want to make sure I do this, Scott. Our sponsors are so important to what we do each week to make sure we get on the air. The Nillis Law Firm, the Golf Center in Grand Forks, Ralph Engelstad Arena, the Sioux Shop in Ralph Engelstad Arena, Dave Noah, Remax Legacy, Jarrell's Hockey World in Grand Forks, and of course the Pilot Hockey Academy. We really do appreciate those sponsors, Scott. Without them, we don't do this stuff. And of course, our text club number is 35270. Twitter at Travis G Dunn 1 and at Scott Taylor Sports. I do want to talk about our guests this week, and we will both chuckle with this. I now call him Brock Nelson's uncle. Do you think most people know who Brock Nelson's uncle is?
Probably not, because his name isn't Nelson.
No, his name is not Nelson.
But if you say his real name, people will know who he is.
Well, should we hold on to that until that point, or people know?
Until somebody texts you and says, "I know who Brock Nelson's uncle."
Well, I had a couple of calls like that on Twitter, but David Christian is the uncle of Brock Nelson. Now, David had a 1,009, I believe, number of games he played in the National Hockey League. He'll be joining us to talk about the 700th game that his nephew, Brock Nelson of the New York Islanders, played recently. And when we talk about careers, and the guys come out of UND, Brock Nelson wasn't someone that we expected to be that guy, but boy, he's had a really solid NHL hockey career.
He's an outstanding hockey player. That's why he can skate, gets in position, always gets to the right place on the ice, has a tremendous shot, good hands, back checks, does his job responsibly in his own, and he plays Islanders hockey. And although it hasn't been as good this year as it's been in the past, the Islanders are still a nice team that's going to have to be reckoned with when we get down into March and April of the season.
When you talk about and I talked to Dave Hackstall about this when Dave was coaching Philadelphia. By the way, you're listening to Game on Hockey in the mighty 790 KFGO, Scott Taylor, Travis Dunn. Playing in the island, playing teams or road games or New York Rangers, which is 5-10 miles away or whatever it would be, New Jersey Devils, Philadelphia. Dave talked about being home in bed pretty much every night, the same night they played on the road. How much of an impact does that make on an NHL hockey career?
Well, it makes it longer, and it certainly makes the year go easier. I remember talking to Marty Brodeur in 1999, and the Devils decided not to take him on the West Coast road trip. They ran their backup and number 3 goaltender. It was a 4-game road trip in January, and they left Brodeur at home. And this was during the playoffs, and he said he had gone 5 months of sleeping in his own bed by not going to the West Coast. His longest trip had been Detroit.
So obviously a huge
they go home, they sleep at home. And that's why Aaron Asham always said that he always felt ready to play because he played in Montreal, Pittsburgh, Philly. He never got himself to Los Angeles, Winnipeg, Vancouver. He didn't have to play out here where you go and you travel and you sleep in hotels all the time. But if you're playing in that metropolitan division, you can go a long time sleeping in your own bed, and it's a pretty nice way to have a hockey career.
Well, and that's exactly what Brock Nelson has had, a pretty nice hockey career to this point, one that will probably be extended because of the fact he's playing on the island and the chance, of course, to travel and not travel as much as guys in Los Angeles. Obviously, Dave Haxtell's in Seattle, but boy, his team's having great success, whether they're in hotels or not.
He's done a wonderful job with that team, and I'm still not sold on them. I watched them the other night. They gave up 8 goals to the Los Angeles Kings.
And one.
Scored 9. They scored 9. There will be games in the National Football League this weekend where there's not 17 points scored.
Yeah, good point.
The reality is this team offensively is just flying. And I wonder if Haxtell kind of saw early in the year, okay, we're not going to be the best defensive team in the NHL. Let's play fire wagon hockey, skate all over the place, take shots, run a fast offensive-minded game. And they've won a lot of games, 6-4, 5-3, 5-4, and then 9-8 in LA on the road.
Well, I tell you what, he didn't fall very far off. He didn't fall out very far off the Dean Blaze coaching, carousel, if that's the case, because that's what Dean liked to do. He didn't care much for goaltenders, but he sure liked to play the offensive part of the game. And let's open the gate in. We got Rick O'Connell from Pilot Mountain. What kind of a style, Rick, do you like to go? Firebrand, or do you go with what your talent is, either defensive or offensive?
Oh, well, a little bit of both. We spend a lot of time teaching the kids the defensive part of the game because they move on. Lots of them, they don't get it. But I do, when I played, I like to run and gun myself. So I a little bit of both. Coaching changes. I know everybody's defensive, and I'm a little both.
Everybody talks when they get to the Manitoba Junior League, the Western Hockey League, a lot of U.S. colleges. That the defensive part of the game is the most important thing. Short shifts, play D, and then if a scoring opportunity comes, try to take advantage of it. I like those teams that just attack, because I've never believed that the other team can score if you have the puck in their end.
Yeah, to be honest, that's kind of my philosophy. To attack, have the puck. When you got the puck, you're right. The other team's not scoring. Playing defensively, when in our own zone, we got to take care of business. But you're right. I love to be a pressure team. Now, sometimes in my situation, my team isn't always. I don't always get that type of player. So sometimes I've got to adjust to the team I have. But if I could choose my and pick my team, yeah, I'd be a quick, solid team. Kind of like the way I've been impressed with the Jets, the way they're going this year. And I've seen some things there that I kind of watch and kind of learning myself. So trying to pass some of that on.
Well, I think the most interesting thing about the Jets has been that they've forced their goal scorers to back check, but have taught them, it appears, to get the puck out of their own end quicker.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of lollygagging in their own zone anymore. The Jets are bang out of their zone and at the other team's blue line.
Yep, for sure.
So you have not been off the road much until this week. Tell us about your last 3
weeks. I've been on the road. We were in Vernon, BC for 7-8 days, and I got home and we were in Alberta in Edmonton for I think 5 or 6, and I got home for a day, and we were in Dallas for 8 days. So it was nice to get home and have a break, and we got some home games now. But awesome experience, some great hockey. We played some good hockey, and Eddie Belfry and the boys in Dallas even got us into a hockey game down there. So it was a good experience and all for all the kids.
Well, Eddie's one of my favorites, and it's got to be a great opportunity for the kids to go to a program like Pilot Mountain and get those chances.
Yeah, we try to incorporate a lot of other things. Hockey and school are an important part of it, but we're a lot of community things, and a lot of these kids don't get to see some of these things that we present to them throughout the year. So yeah, we're always trying to add different things.
Rick, this is early December. How many games has your team played at this point?
Oh, you're stumping me.
Yeah, tough question. 20, 30?
Probably, we've probably 30, 35.
So it's 30,
like
35.
with our exhibition and our tournament, yeah, be 30,
then
35.
And you throw practice into it. Would you call this hockey immersion?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a busy grind, but it's fun.
Yeah,
we're getting close to Christmas, and can't get here quick enough this year, to be honest.
Yeah, as well for the coaches, for the kids though. That's if you're looking for the opportunity. Here it is, early December, Scott. 30 games in. You've been to Dallas, Verdun. I know a friend of mine, his son played for Ogden. He played against your team, I believe. To be honest with you, because there was a young player from Ogden that got hurt. If that's in the same game or not, but regardless, he remembered the Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy. Yeah, you guys, they travel, they play a lot. If you're looking for a hockey immersion opportunity, Scott, probably not a bad place to look. Pilot Mountain, Manitoba, right across the border, not very far from our neck of the woods.
Well, and the other thing is that you've got that rink available to you all the time, and that's a really big deal for these kids. I can't imagine having had that opportunity when I was younger.
Well,
Yeah,
with that,
that's a
yeah,
selling point for us, to be honest. The kids come here, they love the free ice we get at nights, and the kids all have their own dressing rooms, and they're looked after very well. There's a lot of little things that the kids from, especially the city kids, don't get all this. So coming out, the free ice is a big deal at night for them.
absolutely. Hey, Coach Rick, we sure appreciate you jumping on board. Get some rest. You look like you're a little tired. Like you've been through a couple of those early morning baggers, as they call it, when the team didn't play well. You look like one of those type of coaches, but we sure appreciate you jumping on board, filling us in on the hockey immersion style of Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy. You've been around, and you guys have a great December. We'll be talking to you somewhere here down the line, but Merry Christmas to all.
Same to you. Thanks, guys.
Merry Christmas, Rick. See you later.
Same to you guys. See you later.
You know, if you're a youngster, Scott, I mean, what a great opportunity. If I was a kid and that opportunity was presented, I would sure jump on that opportunity.
Winnipeg Jets have played 21 games. Pilot Mountain's played 35. Give that a thought. That's an NHL schedule.
Yeah, it really
Tougher
is.
than an NHL schedule. If they've played 35 by now, they'll get a longer break at Christmas than NHL teams. So
Sure.
the NHL teams will catch up a little bit. But the reality is that's a lot of hockey to have been
Yeah.
played in September, October, November.
Well, we'll talk to a guy pretty shortly that played 1,009 games in the National Hockey League, a bunch of the minors, played at University of North Dakota. And we'll also talk to Noelle Needham, by the way, who is the assistant general manager of the Chicago Steel of the USHL. Sioux Falls Power is also what she does. But there are 3 recruits in Chicago that will be coming to UND, maybe not next year, but the year after. Yeah, she'll fill us in because she was pretty much spot on with Jackson Blake. So she knows what she's talking about. So please stay tuned, UND hockey fanatics, because Eric's over there nodding. He's looking forward to hearing about these youngsters because, well, this team's having some issues, but they'll figure things out as the season goes along. Well, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Brock Nelson's uncle will be joining us. You're listening to Game on Hockey with Scott Taylor. I'm Travis Dunn. He's Eric running the board back there on a beautiful Thursday evening in Fargo, North Dakota. Join us after the break. You're listening to Game on Hockey, brought to you by the Nilles Law Firm and the Nilles Law Firm Studio. And welcome back to Game on Hockey on the mighty 790 KFGO and 104.7 FM. I hope you find a local arena. Go watch some high school hockey, whether it be Fargo-Moorhead, East Grand Forks. Grand Forks, as far as this signal goes, taking a hockey game. Do some cheering for some little young guy that maybe not has a parent. They maybe a parent's not there, can't go there, but they sure appreciate when the rink is full of people. And we appreciate you listening to Game on Hockey. Well, this is the Nilles Law Firm Studios. And as you know, established in the early 1900s, the Nilles Law Firm provides legal services in more than 10 areas of practice, including business and corporate law, estate planning, wills and trust, probate, commercial litigation, adoption services, as well as real estate. A division of Nilles Law Firm is Northern Title, which provides complete closing and escrow services along with title insurance policies for all types of real estate transactions in North Dakota, as well as Minnesota. Call Nilles Law Firm at 701-237-5544 or look them up on the World Wide Web at nilleslaw.com. While we wait for David to sign in and join us on this fun and frivolity Thursday night, Scott, you talk about that Winnipeg Jets hockey team. How does a team that last year everybody sat back and went, you know what, they didn't make any real big moves over the course of the summer. The only big move they made was a coach. What an impact he made, or is the team just had a bad year last year?
Well, and the coach made an impact too when he took the captaincy away from Blake Wheeler. And Blake Wheeler's been twice the hockey player he was this year when he was captain last year. Wheeler's been outstanding. They had a bad game 3 games ago in St. Paul. They were awful against Minnesota. And we talked about this last week. I just felt badly for some of the players because the 4 Minnesota guys who had all of those tickets for all of those family and friends just were not very good. I mean, Wheeler might have had his worst game of the year, and he had like 40 people in the building. Dylan Sandberg looked lost. Neil Pionk wasn't so hot that night either. So it was a night where you looked at it and you went, gee, I wonder what happened to them. And then they go into Dallas and win. They beat Colorado 5-0 this week, 5-0. They whipped them. Like they were just better than Colorado. These are your defending Stanley Cup champs, and the Jets just took them apart. Boy, you got to feel pretty good in Minneapolis and St. Paul when your team's beating that Jets team 6-1, and the Jets whipped the defending champs. But what's made the difference is the coach. The head coach has changed everything. He changed the captaincy. He changed the way they run the power play. He changed the way they did the penalty kill. There's got to be a couple of assistant coaches from last year looking in going, gee, why didn't I think of that? They score on the power play. They stop other teams' power plays. They play better in their own zone. Their shifts are shorter. Their attack is quicker. Everything about this team is better than it was. And I've only seen one team take them apart this year, and that was the Minnesota Wild. So you try to figure out the NHL because I can't.
Well, and one thing, look at the St. Louis Blues, a team that was predicted to be a powerhouse, right? And they started out extremely slowly, picked things back up, and now all of a sudden they've kind of stepped backwards again. Make any sense?
I wonder if that's partly goaltending. And I say partly, I don't say entirely. But first of all, hockey's a hard game. You played it, man. You played it.
Yeah,
it's a hard game. In the National Hockey League, we're going to talk to Dave Christian. In the National Hockey League, it's 82 hard games with lots of travel. Christian played in Winnipeg. He knows what it's like traveling all over the United States and Canada to play games. It's a tough grind, and it's hard to be a good team or a great team every night. So you've got to take those games where you get whooped or you don't play very well, forget they ever happened. The reason the Jets have a Vezina Trophy winning goaltender is that Connor Hellebuck, I swear this is the one thing I've learned about him since he came to Winnipeg. He was born without a memory. I don't think he remembers a goal he gave up. You will talk to him after games and he'll give up 5 and you'll say to him, was it your best night tonight, Connor? And he'll say, it was great tonight. That was tremendous. I had my corners. I was challenging shooters. I felt really quick. I felt great tonight. I thought I played a great game. And you think maybe he doesn't even remember that a goal went in. He would be a perfect defensive back. He would never remember that somebody scored a touchdown. And that's the way you have to be a goaltender. When goaltenders start talking to themselves, we've had Eddie Belfour on. You can't start worrying about what happened. You got to worry about what's going to happen next. Same thing with golfers, right? You make a 7, stop thinking about the 7. You're going off to make a 3 on the next hole. That's the job. And it's easy for us to talk about it, but it's a really hard thing to do for a goaltender to forget that the puck ever got by him. And Connor Hellebuck has that skill, and I don't know where he got it.
Well, that's a good thing to have, but one thing we do have, and that's the uncle of Brock Nelson. Joining us tonight on the Mighty 790 KFGO and 104.7. This is Game on Hockey with Scott Taylor. This is Travis Dunn. And I hope when I say this is David Christian, he answers me. He did not answer
I don't
me.
think he's turned anything on yet.
David, turn on your microphone. You know, he can score goals. He can play 1,009 games in the National Hockey League. And now I got to text him, say, turn on your microphone. Come on. And my mic is not on. Oh, well, we'll just carry on until he figures it out. Gee whiz, Mike. I can see his name's up here. What's going on? What's going on back there, Eric? Is it technology?
We had him for a second, and I'm not sure where Dave went. He was there for a second. The joys of technology, right?
Well, maybe he got mad that I called him Brock Nelson's uncle. But let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll figure this whole thing out. We'll come back and we'll have Dave Christian. We'll figure this whole thing out. You're listening to Game on Hockey with all the gremlins and everything else going on in this world. Why would you expect anything different than a little glitch? But hey, it's not a big deal. When you come back, it'll all be good. You're listening to Game on Hockey from the Nillis Law Firm studio on the Mighty 790 KFGO. For Scott Taylor, I'm Travis Dunn. We'll be back after this break. Game on Hockey. We sure appreciate you joining us and watching it for us and putting us on the calendar each week. We've had great guests. Obviously, Scott. Last week we had a really good opportunity to visit with someone pretty awesome in the Pittsburgh Penguin hockey group, not group, on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Jay Caulfield. What a great guest! And if you want to look at that or listen to that, you can go on to the KFGO site and listen to the podcasts. Great guests each and every week. And next week it gets better because we're going to help more youngsters find more places to play in the Manitoba Junior Hockey League.
Next week. It's not going to be next week.
Next week. Oh, the week after.
Week after. He's got to drive his daughter to her hockey tournament in Regina. It's hockey season, my friend. Everybody's
true.
on the road, but he'll be there on the 15th. So
All
right. We've got Kevin Surratt, the commissioner of the Manitoba Junior Hockey League, coming in on the 15th to talk about the opportunities to play junior hockey in Manitoba. Now, this is very interesting for a lot of kids. There are probably now 70 American players in the Manitoba Junior League. It's a 12-team league with 6 players per team allowed from the U.S. And that's lots and lots of guys who have finished high school, need a couple of more years to get themselves into a position to play college hockey in the U.S. And they've done it by going to the Manitoba Junior League. Cole Smith's one of the biggest names. He's one of the guys who've turned it into an NHL career. There's lots of opportunities if you're 20 years old and you've had 2 good junior seasons. So this will be an opportunity for people who have kids graduating that aren't getting scholarships right away to find themselves a place in the Manitoba Junior League and develop another 2 years. And Kevin Surratt, the commissioner, will tell you how you can do that.
And that's why you listen to the show each and every week. Great guests and great opportunities is what we're trying to feed each and every week. Jarrell's Hockey World. Tell us about it.
Well, it's Christmas.
It is.
Christmas, man. That means Jarrell's Hockey World is the place for everything you need to make Christmas perfect for your favorite hockey player or fan. Jarrell's has knit beanies, Bauer mystery mini sticks, any kind of mini sticks for that matter. Jarrell's has it all. The best hockey sticks in the game, all of the best protective equipment bags, even nets for road hockey or your backyard rink. Get them at Jarrell's. Jarrell's has Bauer and CCM clothing, plus everything you will need to fill those stockings. Skate guards, laces, tape, wax, pucks, even stick handling balls. I wish I had a stick handling ball when I was a kid. But hey, if you can't think of one item your hockey lover would love, pick up a gift card. Let her decide what she'd love from Jarrell's. In business for 50 years and the 2021 U.S. Bauer Retailer of the Year, right here in our backyard, Jarrell's Hockey World, 1004 South Washington in Grand Forks. Call 701-775-0553 and apps at Jarrell's Hockey.
And they have lots of stock. I talked to Eric, the manager up there today, and he said, we have lots of stock of everything. So if you're having a hard time finding sticks or whatever, they have a great supply. So make sure to give them a call. Well, with that, we did that. We just gave Dave Christian a call. He's not joining us on Zoom, but that's okay. The uncle of Brock Nelson. Welcome to Game On again, David.
Thanks, Travis. Thanks, Scott.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing good. We had some technical issues, which is pretty common when I'm trying to do anything with technology. I'm used to it.
You need an assistant, and maybe your wife was off this evening. But anyway, what's it like being Brock Nelson's uncle right now? When you look at the 700th game he played this week, you played 1,009. Are you more known now as Dave Christian, or hey, that's Brock Nelson's uncle?
You know what? I'm probably best known as a grandpa now, and dad used to be a dad. So yeah, it falls right in line with. Some people don't even realize that I did play. So, but I'm good. I'm good with that, and it feels really good. It's 700 games. Wow, just kind of quietly going about his business. Hit 700. And I think the exciting part is he just seems to be getting better every year.
He's off to a tremendous start, Dave. I mean, this is a guy with 23 points in 24 games. Would it be safe to say that the only reason he's not a huge name is that he plays on the island instead of in Manhattan?
Well, that's possible, but I don't know. I think it's. I think it runs right with really his whole hockey life. It's just kind of quietly gone about his business and improved and worked on his game, and wasn't probably not a household name or not on the front or at the forefront of anyone, even going into high school hockey and coming out of high school, going to UND, leaving after 2 years. It's just kind of, every year, just the game stepped up and continues to step up every year and get better. He's
had 6 seasons of at least 20 goals. Last year, he had 37. his big breakout year as a goal scorer. This year he's got 11 already. He's on pace for another 30, 35. Is it just because he gets better every year, or is there something in the water when you're from Minnesota and North Dakota?
Well, I think it's he's got a really good shot. If there's anything that I have ever said to him, is like, don't be afraid to shoot the puck more. But he's got a great sneaky shot, heavy shot, and he gets himself in good spots, good positions. So we're excited about what's ahead.
Yep. This is Game On Hockey, by the way, on the mighty 790 KFGO and 104.7 FM. Scott Taylor, Travis Dunn, each and every Thursday at 5:30. We have great guests. And this guest right now, well, is David Christian. He played at UND, played a bunch of games in the National Hockey League and won a gold medal. So he's had a pretty good hockey career himself, knows the game. And you're talking about grandkids now. Are you starting to see the influx of that younger generation getting on the ice, and now your grandpa up in the stands watching now? Is that happening more and more? We're
getting close to that. Just kind of learning how to skate, and we would hope they'd like playing hockey, but if they don't, they'll be in and doing other things. So it doesn't matter what they pick up. We certainly will be cheering them along the way, for sure.
You got to 1,009 games in your career. You played in more than one city. Did it feel like when it was coming to an end that it had all gone by in a flash, or did you kind of take it 1 year at a time and smell the roses as you went?
That's a great question, because you try your best to take it 1 year at a time, and not being sure what that year might look like, and then all of a sudden you look back and you go, holy mackerel. It does go by fast. It certainly does go by fast. And you said I played in five cities with NHL teams, and spent a couple of years in the International League with the Minnesota Moose at the end of my career. And so it's I enjoyed every one of those cities that I played in. The fans, and there's something good about everywhere that I played.
We talked about a road game could be the New York Rangers, a road game could be the New Jersey Devils, or home in your own bed. The number of nights you get in your own bed. You experienced that playing in Winnipeg and traveling a lot, obviously to all corners of the United States and Canada. When you played for the Washington Capitals and the Boston Bruins, obviously was that a different experience because you were home more, or was it a better experience? You kind of put that in words, if you would.
I think there's a lot to be said about that. This, early in my career. So when I was in Winnipeg, if you went out on the road to play one game, you were probably out 2 nights. You were gone 3 days for each of those games. And then I got to the East, playing on the East Coast with Washington. Later in my career in Washington, we started chartering, going out day of and coming back after the game. So I think one time there was like 45 additional nights that you were home just by being able to do that. When teams started chartering more, and the closer proximity of a road game certainly added to that. And I think it made a huge difference rest wise and whatnot with less travel.
I want to know what you thought about when your career was winding down and you decided you would play 2 years with the Minnesota Moose. My friend Mike Keane did the same thing in Winnipeg. He played for the Moose, same organization, different owners, at the end of his career. But there's a lot of players that have played in the National Hockey League that would never do that, go from the NHL to finish their career in the American League. What was your thought process through that? And was it because you just didn't think you were done, or what was the thinking?
At the time, I loved to play. I just got to the point. Lisa and I had 5 kids at that time. Probably could have gone to a training camp with another NHL club. Well, obviously, there's never a guarantee. You go through training camp, there's never a guarantee of anything. But it was just a point of it's time to get everybody settled. And being from Minnesota was an opportunity to come back and play with the Moose and kind of get families settled to a certain extent. And I didn't feel like I was done with the game. I still enjoyed playing the game. I had a lot of fun with those 2 years.
Yeah.
With the Moose.
It's interesting. We had Craig Ludwig on a couple of weeks ago, Scott and I, and he basically said when he was done, he got to the point where he didn't want his kids to go to school and kids say, "Hey, your dad played lousy last night." Did you ever? Not that you played lousy, but did it ever creep into your mind? You wanted a more normal time for your kids as they grew up as well. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Definitely. And I'm sure, I'm sure my kids probably did experience some of that. It's like, hey, your dad didn't play last night. Is he hurt? No, he was just a healthy scratch. So, I get at some point, I'm sure it definitely affects kids. And that is a interesting thought. But I think I just went through. Didn't want to go through the grind anymore, and it was coming to an end. But I played with some, in that international league. That was a really high level of play. There were some really good players, and I felt like I always had an admiration for those guys that spent a career and played extensively in the minors, and riding buses. And the international league in Minnesota was we had a pretty good. We were pretty much flying everywhere. So we didn't go through that East Coast or American League, the struggles of the bus rides and travel and all of that. But I get a lot of admiration for guys that spent careers doing that.
It's been 26 years since you played pro. Do you still follow the game closely?
A little bit. I think my kids probably keep me more up to date on the pro game than anywhere. I got a text from my son about Ovi passing Gretzky for road goals.
Yeah.
So I keep up. He keeps me up to date on what's going on. Probably more than I'm aware of what's going on. But I do follow it a little bit. Get to a few Wild games during the year.
Yeah. I tell you what, Dave, time always flies when you have you. We sure appreciate you joining us. A few of the glitches, we made it all work out. And, again, the reason we had it on was to talk about Brock, but it's always great talking about the game itself. But Brock's having a great career, and it's fun to watch that Christian lineage still carrying on the National Hockey League at such a high level. And you're right. I saw his goal last week when he sniped the top shelf. He's got the best shot in the Christian family ever, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, give our best to your bride, Lisa. Hope everything's going well in the Christian household. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. We sure appreciate it, and we'll do this again somewhere down the line, my friend.
Yeah. Next time we'll get that Zoom to work.
You got it, my friend. You did it the first time. You did it the first time. We'll do it next time. All right. That's the great Dave Christian joining us, talking about Brock Nelson, the National Hockey League. You covered his first game more than 25 years ago now with the Winnipeg Jets back in that 1980. Were you there? Yeah.
My goodness gracious. It was
43
years ago.
Yeah.
42, because he played in the Olympics. So his first game that first year was well into 1980. 1980. That's like forever ago.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I remember that first goal. He scored in his first game in the National Hockey. Scored his first shift in the NHL.
Yeah, some guys have it.
Back then, though. The goaltenders didn't have big pads.
Yeah, they were good enough to stop my shot, but I don't want to get into that. Anyway, this segment. Well, let's talk about the Ralph Engelstad Arena. This segment also brought to you by Ralph Engelstad. Leading up to the North Dakota versus U.S. National 18 team Saturday at 4 p.m. the 31st of December. Spend New Year's Eve with myself and Tim Hennessy in the rink doing games. Come on, come up and do it. It's called Youth Hockey Night. Tickets on sale at the RA box office and Ticketmaster starting at just $20. You can come up and watch a very entertaining US 18 team that has taken down a number of the big college ranked hockey teams this year. So that team is loaded, and there'll be some UND recruits in there as well. Also, while you're there, you can visit the Sioux Shop at REA, or you know what, you can go online and do at siouxshop.com to get all of your Christmas shopping done early. Plus the headquarters, plus also featuring UND football, basketball, volleyball, soccer, t-shirts, and more. REA is the place to go at siouxshop.com. Well, I'll take a quick break. When we come back, Noelle Needham will fill us in on the recruits coming to UND in a few years. She kind of was spot on with Jackson Blake. She's a pretty good analysis. She figured this stuff out pretty well. But when we come back, we'll dive deeper to keep the UND faithful happy, Scott. Sometimes it's hard to do, but we'll do the best we can. You're listening to Game on Hockey with Scott Taylor, Travis Dunn, on a beautiful Thursday night on the mighty 790 KFGO and 104.7 FM.
Hey, Noelle, how are you?
Hi, guys. Good. How are you?
Oh, as good as it gets for a man of my advanced. Not getting any easier. This growing old is not for the faint of heart. Well, how are you doing? Are you just in Chicago, or where do you spend all your time?
No, Sioux Falls.
So they let you work remotely
Yeah.
as long as you bring them a pile of players.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. How are the Power doing? Are you coaching them at all, or just?
Yep, the U16s. So I had Alex Thompson was on my team. He's a Manitoba kid, but he actually signed with Portland after their camp. So he's in Portland right now. But his younger brother, Braden Thompson, is a 2008, and he's kind of doing a combined U14, U16 thing with me this season. So, yeah, keeping the Manitoba tradition alive.
Where are they from?
Winnipeg.
Are they Winnipeggers?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, they are.
yeah,
Oh, that's cool. That's great.
yeah,
See, that's that Game on Hockey. That gets you all those Winnipeg guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
Past three or 4 years, I think I've had Winnipeg guys.
Yeah. How's Riley Dudar, my buddy, doing?
He's doing great. Yeah, he's doing really well. And one of my best friends lives in Winnipeg. Her dad is Rick St. Croix.
Yeah, we talked about that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick's great, and Rick and his son own the house across the street from me. They rent it out.
Yeah, that's right.
He's living in it now.
Okay.
They revamped the whole thing. It's beautiful. It's just a gorgeous place. They did all the work. Did a good job.
Good.
Yeah, everybody loves the St. Croix. Everybody.
Yeah, they're the best.
Yeah, really a great family.
Yeah.
Well, give Ashley a nudge, because I got a page for you in the next edition. So give her a little.
Okay. Yeah, I will. I'll let her know. I didn't tell her. I mean, we haven't talked about that, but I'll tell her that we talked tonight. So.
Yeah, good. Well, I'll hold that space for you, and we'll do the next 3 issues. That'll get you some more minutes.
All right. Sounds good.
Back in 30 seconds, guys. Back in 30.
Yeah, on Braden Thompson.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Eric has it rocking this evening, and we've got it rocking in the room tonight. Scott Taylor, Travis Dunn. I'm not sure he got it rocking or not, but we're having a lot of fun. And I hope you have fun each and every Thursday joining us at 5:30 p.m. Leading into, there's a football game tonight, isn't there, Eric? And I can't quite see who's on the board over there.
It is indeed Bills at Patriots tonight for Thursday night football.
Oh, Bills at Patriots. The Bills. I think the Bills should win that game, shouldn't they?
They should, but it's Bills at Patriots,
Yes,
and you know how Belichick is when he starts playing those interdivision teams.
He's great coaches, and they managed to pull off wins. But make sure to stay tuned on the Mighty 790 KFGO. Tomorrow night will be St. Cloud State hosting University of North Dakota. Tim Hennessy on the call and Darren Looker on the color analysis. I just do home games, which is just perfectly fine with me. I'll be spending 3 weeks in a row up there in January. 3 Saturdays and 3 Fridays in a row in January. I'm sure the weather will be great. We're heading up that direction, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. It won't be a normal January. But with that, the assistant, and hopefully she'll nod. I didn't do my research. Are you still the assistant general manager of the Chicago Steel?
You know, I got an elevated title in my second year. So actually the associate general manager for the Chicago Steel.
I'm glad I asked to make sure. That's Noelle Needham, the voice of Noelle Needham. Not only that, but she has a bunch of other things she does as well. But Noelle, we just wanted to make sure to have you on. I was looking at the roster last week of your Chicago Steel, and last year you kind of filled me in this guy named Jackson Blake. You said, yeah, he's going to be really very, very good. Well, to this point, he's been very, very good. Are there 3 more very, very good players coming down the road who have committed to UND? Can you fill us in on these players? And matter of fact, one of them is from Winnipeg.
Yeah, I think UND fans have a lot to be excited about, just in the talent from the Chicago Steel that are coming north next season. Jaden Perron, he's a 2005. He's from Winnipeg, Manitoba. He's just a special player. He's a special human being. He's going to be electric to watch up there. And, I really think that he's going to be a first round NHL draft pick, coming this coming draft. You've got Jake Livanovich coming. He's a defenseman. He's a part of the World Junior A Challenge. He was named to that team to represent the United States. And that starts in, I think, December 11th, they begin. And man, his skating ability is just something else. And I think, Graydon Slipik is a kid that has just been such a pleasant surprise with his talent. His talent is high end and his skill is high end. So a little bit of, I would say these guys are different than what has been traditional UND recruits in the past, to be honest. Different, Jane Perron's only 5'9", 160 pounds. Jake Livanovich on defense. He's 5'10", 170 pounds. It's a little different look, but their skill is just outstanding.
What makes Jaden Perron as good as he is? Because he every time I see him, and I saw him a bit this summer, what a remarkably skilled kid.
You
coached him.
I did coach him. He played for me, and he skates with me in the summer, some of the summer, in addition to up back in Winnipeg. But his brain, his poise is just, his edge work, it's phenomenal. And I compare him to Messi, the soccer player. That's how I view his brain. I mean, it's unlike anything that I've seen. It's remarkable. So he's a high end talent. He's a high end person. And the stuff that he can do with the puck, it's unbelievable.
Now, you figure he'll be a first round draft pick this spring? I
think he will be. Yeah.
That's high praise for any kid.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the stars that everybody knows, but Perron is a pretty big name. He had a pretty spectacular season last year.
Yeah.
But he's not getting the press that a lot of other players are throughout Western Canada, Ontario, and the United States. But
That's true.
People despite his size.
He right. And the thing about him, and I think that this is just so awesome, is he's actually never had that press. He's never been highly touted despite putting up astronomical numbers. I mean, last year as a tender, he led all USHL tenders in points. He had 45 points before going in the playoffs. Right now he's averaging over a point per game with the Chicago Steel. He's never had that hype. And I think that's something else that's really special about him. He doesn't have, he's not like that. His family's not like that. He's not like that. His agent doesn't like that. It's just, he's just like truly a hockey player, and he loves the game. And I think it's just such a refreshing genuine approach, honestly, to an elite athlete.
Now, of course, you meant family advisor when you said agent, but I just want to make sure to clarify with
Yeah.
that one a little bit as well. But you talk
Yeah.
about this, you talk about this USHL and the growth of the game within the USHL. You've been around the United States Junior Hockey League now for a number of years. It's almost exponentially each year. It just gets better and better and better with the talent levels. Where
Yeah.
do you see the cap with this? There's no cap.
There's no cap. It's just going to continue getting better. You know, and you see a lot more Canadians coming down. You see a lot more Russian players, players from Belarus that are playing in the USHL now. High-end talent with that. The league has improved a lot.
The league always was pretty good, though. I mean, the
It's always
USHL has been a great springboard into the NCAA, which has been a great springboard into the NHL.
Yeah,
I guess the only difference is
that's
now
true.
players are making the jump.
Players are making the jump, and honestly, like, they've had to earn some of that credibility from the NHL staffs just because of the stronghold and respect that the CHL has for it.
So tell us about Sioux Falls. So tell us about your team, because people might not know you still coach as well as become associate.
I do. U16. Yeah, U16. My team is good. I've got some really good players. You know, we'll see if any of them end up at UND too, coming up.
We just had the Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy on, who comes on every week and talks about that. Talk about the extent that you travel. Were you in Dallas recently as well for these events? Traveling far and wide to
I
find
have been
action?
traveling a lot. Yep. I've had quite the travel this year so far, including our bus having a 5-hour hiatus in Missouri. But aside from that, yeah, we were in Dallas. Coming up December, there's a huge showcase in Phoenix, and that's where you see a lot of scouts head down because of the warm weather. So it's convenient for all of them somehow it's convenient for every scout to head down to Phoenix to watch some hockey in the middle of December.
Yeah, you got that right. It sounds like it's a place you need to get to, because, you know, you got a little bit of sniffles going on too. And it sounds like that's an awful lot of that going around. I've got the exact same thing. After 8 days, I've been talking about just trying to get rid of it. Noelle, thanks for jumping on board and filling us in on these players. We'll follow over the course of the year, and we'll look forward to having you back on again. There's so many more questions that Scott and I both have to ask.
Yeah, thank you guys.
You bet. That's
Send me an
Noelle
email.
Needham.
See you later.
Yeah. All right, Scott, throw in that golf commercial before we run out of time.
Christmas again.
It is
Yeah.
Christmas again.
Christmas.
Put the
Thank
glasses
you guys.
on. You got it.
Thanks,
Take care, Noelle.
Noelle. It's time to move the golf game indoors.
Yep.
It's winter time. It's Christmas time. And the Golf Center has a complete line of golf simulators and hitting mats, nets, and training aids in stock to help you make your game better in the off season. Garmin R10, Bushnell Launch Pro, and SkyTrack can help you keep your swing in its groove all winter long, especially Travis Dunn's swing. It's just silky until the spring comes, and then it's
silky.
You're looking for the perfect Christmas gift for the golfer in your life. The Golf Center can help. A full inventory of bags, FootJoy golf shoes, golf balls, as well as clothing to look great in the course. Even Santa shops at the Golf Center. Give Brian and the guys a call. Stop by the Golf Center, 3001 South Columbia Road in Grand Forks, or call them at 701-775-0019 and get that swing silky for Christmas.
Absolutely. Silky smooth. Well, a little hockey tonight. Edmonton Oilers at the Minnesota Wild tomorrow night. I know where you will be at Canada Life Center. Columbus Blue Jackets versus the Winnipeg Jets.
Apparently, Patrick Laine is coming off the injured list. So we'll have Patrick Laine back home. It should be an interesting night.
Darn right it should be. And on the agenda for the rest of your evening, just watching a lot of hockey on television, I would understand.
A little football, lots of hockey. I'll tune in on KFGO for that football game. It's
absolutely. You can get that in Winnipeg as well. Well, you know what? Another fun night. Dave Christian was great. Noelle filled us in on some things. Next week or down the line, we've got the Manitoba Junior Hockey League commissioner coming on to talk about opportunities. Hey, and on Saturday morning, I've got a little show called Around the Rink. Ben Holden, play-by-play, CBS Sports Network former. He's doing all sorts of other play-by-play stuff. We'll get a fill in on where Ben is these days and what he's up to. But Scott, you can take the rest of the evening off, get rid of that cough, and maybe check online in the Golf Center, get some golf stuff for you.
I'll be thinking about that. I'll be thinking about Jarrell's. And next week, we've got Dorian Morphy, the Vice President of Marketing of the Winnipeg Jets, to talk about Jets tickets, packages, Christmas gifts, everything you need to know about Jets hockey.
And right here, everything you needed about hockey, every Thursday night on the Mighty 790 KF2 and 104.7. It's a hockey show. This is Game On for Eric, for Scott, for Travis. Enjoy the rest of your evening from the Nilles Law Firm studio. Good night for now.